I know what you're asking yourself. How did I come to this? I don't know how to convert units. Easily the second most important of all science, math, skills. And you don't know how to do it. Well, joke's on you. You actually do know how to do it, but you don't recognize it. So, here we are again, trying to figure out this whole process without going to your local interweb browser and looking up some unit conversion thing to do it for you, because you got to know. It's important to science. It's important to the future. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you right now. Okay, unit conversions. A couple of things that we need to remember. Number one, bed mass. The order of operations. Right here is where it is most important. Dividing and multiplying is all we're doing to convert units. Other thing, always show your units. If you're not showing your units, then you can't really cancel anything out, which is a math skill that's you need to know. Next one. 1 divided by 1 is 1. 2 divided by 2, let's do a random variable. How about a cashew? 1 cashew divided by a cashew. Some of you probably just said cashew. That's not right. It's 1. Anything divided by itself is 1, and that's really important. So let's do a random question. Let's say I am looking to convert 30 kilometers to meters. It's a patented speed zone up here in Canada. Playgrounds. Got to watch out for kids playing. 30 kilometers, but I want to know how many kilometers or how many meters are in a kilometer. Now here's the deal. I have a couple of things that you got to recognize. Number one, I have the unit that I want to convert to is meters. And I've also been given what we have, kilometers. In order to set up a unit conversion, it is a ratio, kind of. It's a fraction multiplied by a fraction. So it's like we have 30 kilometers. Step one, how about write down the actual zero? That might be a good idea. Copy down the question, right? Here's 30 kilometers, and I'm going to multiply it by some ratio. Now this ratio is important. This is how many meters are in a kilometer, or however many kilometers are in a meter, right? We need this ratio. Now a lot of you can do this in your head, but my recommendation as it gets a little bit more complex is write it down always. So 30 kilometers times what ratio? Here's the deal. We need to get rid of kilometers and be left with meters. But we need meters to take the position of this kilometer. Now, believe it or not, this 30 kilometers is in a fraction, just like over here. It's just that every whole number really is over 1. And this is important because, remember, we're going back to bed mass. We're going to be multiplying and dividing all over the place. This whole number is invisible, right? This over 1. If you're understanding what I'm talking about, great. If not, it's all good. Just ignore it. But I need to mention this to you because it's important to really come to a whole understanding of what's going on. So 30 kilometers times a ratio. Now, how many meters are in a kilometer? Well, we have this ratio over here. 1,000 meters per or over 1 kilometer. Everybody knows that. That's what kilo means is 1,000. Do you know what I could also write? This is going to blow your mind. It's the same thing of writing 1 kilometer over 1,000 meters. Son of a gun. It's another ratio. You want to get crazy? Nah, you don't want to get crazy. I could also say 1 meter. I could also say 1 meter is 0.001 kilometers. But this is a little confusing. Don't worry about it. Just let's focus on keeping it simple. We got 30 kilometers. We want to multiply it by one of these fractions. We need to cancel out the kilometers, so we need to make sure, and here's what I honestly do this first every time. Just put the kilometer in the bottom section, the denominator. Because when we divide a kilometer by a kilometer, Holy crapper balls. A kilometer divided by a kilometer equals 1. We call this canceling out. The units are gone. So making sure that you have the units written down, this is the unit we start with, and I need to cancel it out, so put it in the opposite situation. Numerator, denominator. Kilometers in the numerator, now it's in the denominator, so when we do all this math, they're going to cancel out. We need to put what we're looking for, or what we want to convert it to rather, in the other position. You see, this little fraction here will tell us what conversion numbers we need here. I need to know how many meters are in a kilometer, or how many kilometers in a meter. It doesn't matter. It'll work either way. Now we just fill in the numbers. 1,000. There's 1,000 meters per kilometer. Now, we just multiply this trash, right? In fact, we can combine this whole mathematical problem to make it one big fraction if you want. It's the same thing as saying 30 kilometers times 1,000 meters divided by 1 kilometer. These will cancel out, and we will be left with the unit that we want to convert it to. Or we can just say, okay, 30 times 1,000 equals 30,000 meters. Cancel out, cancel out. Don't forget to divide by 1. Who cares? It's all good. Step by step. Let's pretend that we want to convert 2.5 hours into seconds. That's our question. So we have hours. We want to convert it to seconds. First things first, step 1, write down what number you originally have. 2.5 hours. And we're going to multiply it, step 2, by a ratio. Okay? So even if you set it up just like this first, it's great. Now you got to put these units in. I want to cancel out hours, so I'm going to put it in the opposite position to where it's originated, right here. So it's originating in this numerator. This is where it starts. So I'm going to make sure hours are down here so these cancel out, leaving what we need to convert it to, seconds, up in the numerator position. These will cancel out, leaving me with seconds. That's the conversion. Now we need to find a ratio that fits. How many seconds for an hour, or how many hours in 1 second? Pick whatever ratio is easiest. I'm going to go ahead and memorize this. There are exactly 3,600 seconds per hour. Or there's exactly 1 hour for every 3,600 seconds. Trust me. So 3,600 seconds for every 1 hour. Now let's multiply. 2.5 times 3,600 seconds divided by 1 hour. Let's do some mental math. Yup, 9,000 seconds. These hours cancel, and we are left with seconds. And we have converted 2.5 hours to seconds. Okay, warning. This is now a little bit more difficult. We're going to do one last conversion. We want, let's say you're running at a brisk speed of 15 meters per second, and you are wanting to convert that and figure out how fast you're moving really in kilometers per hour. Now, this is the way that a lot of test questions will have this, and because, it's font, it's easy to just do a slash, but these are still two fractions, two ratios, right? We need to rewrite this, right? This is 15 meters per second to kilometers per hour, so that we can see that there's a numerator and a denominator position. It's super important to understand that. So if we want to convert this meter in the numerator position to kilometers in the numerator position. We want to convert this second in the denominator position to hours in the denominator position. Count them up. That's 2 units to be converted. It's a simple process. If you have 2 units to convert, then you have 2 ratios that you need to multiply by. It's the same setup. So I'm going to write this way. 15 meters per second. Times it by this ratio. Now, we need to multiply it by this ratio to convert meters to kilometers. So let's set it up just like we did before. I want meters to be canceled out, and what I'm looking for is kilometers. But remember, up here it says I need kilometers in the numerator position, so I'm going to make sure it's there. But it doesn't matter which order you start. You can say, okay, I need kilometers here, so that means we need to cancel out meters. Fine, no big deal. But now we got this second little sweetheart. So we got to multiply it by another ratio. And that other ratio will be, well, seconds is down here. I am looking for hours. I need hours to be down here, which means in order to cancel out seconds that's already in the denominator position, I need seconds up here. Now we just need to fill in these equivalencies, right? 1 kilometer to 1,000 meters, 3,600 seconds to 1 hour. And we multiply and divide. Now remember, I like keeping it in this expanded version. If you like, you can put everything on the top. You can have, look, we got 1, 2, 3 different fractions, if you will. Okay, 15 meters per second, 1 kilometer per 1,000 meters, and so on. I can change that to just one gigantic thing. Look, let's write everything on the top. 15 meters times 1 kilometer times 3,600 seconds. Woo! One giant ratio, if you want, one giant fraction. Don't care. Everything on the bottom is multiplied as well. So that's a second times 1,000 meters times 1 hour. Now, either one of these methods is fine. It's what you're comfortable with. I like this. I don't like that. You may love doing this. I don't give two flippity flops. Whatever works for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and do what works for me. This one, because guess what? This meter will cancel out by this meter, because a meter divided by a meter, just meter divided by a meter is 1. Canceled out. Seconds over here divided by seconds. Seconds divided by seconds. It's the same thing. And we are left with kilometers in the numerator and hours, because they're not canceled out, they're there. So if I do this, right, what it'll look like, and I'm just going to write it step by step for you. I don't really need 15 times 1 kilometer times 3,600. Easy. 54,000 kilometers over 1,000 hours. Now, math, 54 kilometers per hour. Yes, that is a brisk run now, isn't it? Now, the crazy thing is this. Some of you are probably like, Mr. Levitt, couldn't you just multiply 15 by 3.6? Yeah, I guess you can. Doesn't matter. I'm keeping it simple. This is unit conversions. This actually leads right into a thing called stoichiometry, right? It's beautiful stuff. This is going to help you. Second most important math skill, unit conversions. And this is as difficult as it can be. You just need to remember. Find the proportionate unit, 1 kilometer per 1,000 meters, or whatever you need. It doesn't matter. As soon as you have this and you can set this up, units be converted, and you're understanding this math. Enjoy the science.